Hey guys, Nick Trigili here, IFBB Pro. You are watching the Bodybuilding Coach. This is a show discussing nutrition, supplement, and training tips. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing, do you need social media to win a show? Is it necessary? Well, I'm about to give you guys my 2 cents on this subject, and I firmly believe that social media is not needed to win any bodybuilding show or fitness show. I believe social media should be treated as its own entity. I don't believe that these judges really care where your social media is, if it has any influence on them winning a show. I think if that was the case, we would see a lot more different champions winning the shows that we've seen recently. Because the social media followings of the ones are the greatest are usually not even placing in the top 10 shows. I think if the judges ever went to that point of where they've really cared about social media, it would really throw the fan base off, because the fan base is already a little bit on edge now because the way the judging is, and how harsh it is with the people who want their guy to win because he is the bigger fan base, or maybe they want the guy to win because he's not as hated as much. And the judges always stick to who they firmly believe is the best bodybuilder or physique or bodybuilder or body on that stage that day. I have never really seen a show go to a direction where the guy won and I was like, whoa, what is that? That guy should never win. And I look back into social media as the biggest. Like, I've never ever seen that. Now listen, I'm not going to sit here and look at this camera in the eye and tell you guys that funky stuff doesn't go on with judging. And sometimes I haven't seen it happen. Like, it does happen once in a while, but I'm sure there is a reason behind things. There's always an answer to this stuff, because think about it, guys. If you're trying to move up in a corporation or a job, or trying to go to this interview, and you're up against 5 other guys, right? And there is some heavy dirt on your name. Maybe you've been arrested for this, or you've had altercations with the president of the company, or you've been there before, or maybe God knows what you did, okay? And it was down to you and someone else. Do you really think that the head people of the company that are doing the hiring are going to take the guy that has all these check marks not against him? He has all these X's against him. It really comes down at the end of the day. If there's a 1 and 2 guy on that stage, and maybe that second guy has rubbed that guy the wrong way, I'm not going to say it gets personal, but it kind of does. Okay? But I am sure that the judges try to do the best they can with the best man wins that day. The best physique wins that day. I don't think judges nowadays could get away doing that, because there's so much, there's so much, our privacy is gone. There's so much information on the web nowadays that would be like a viral thing if, God forbid, a judge picked someone with the bigger following, and it was blatantly obvious. Second of all, social media is its own little world, okay? These judges are flying all around the world, internationally, within the country, to judge shows, and they're focused on that show that day. They're not going to go look at the social media following to see who's in the show. For the most part, the guys that are competing don't even have that big a following anyway, for the most part. Usually the guys that have the biggest following don't even compete. They don't even use the stage as their platform, which is sad. When I was coming up, competing was what built your reputation. It's how you got known. It's how you got discovered. It's how you were put on the map as anybody. So when I look back at my social media, I see like, wow, 80,000, that's all I have. I never really tried to push my social media till like the last 2 years, where I'm like, I've really been dedicated to it. And I made a mistake by not doing that, because I never thought this stuff would really stick, to be honest. I never thought in a million years we would be in this position that we are, with a powerful tool like that in our hands that can literally manipulate the world in a post. I never thought this could happen. I really didn't. I didn't believe it. So I was very naive in the beginning. I put it off. I was posting here and there, not taking it serious. Then it became a part of my contract that, one of my sponsors, and that's when I really had to get serious with it. Then I started, the whole sport changed. The whole element of the sport changed. The people that were competing changed. The whole kind of like demographic of people in the whole sport changed. We're attracting a lot more different people. The outsiders were coming in more now to see what's going on. Like, what is this circus show kind of thing? It's really changed the whole dynamic of the sport, but it's also brought a lot of positive things to the sport. We're worldwide now as an organization. We have shows now in a lot of different countries. I mean, not me, the organization does. And I think it's really opened other countries to this, and people that maybe have great physiques to compete and maybe start a career for themselves and maybe have something out of their life. Maybe they don't have anything else. This is all they have. So I see the opportunities there for the people, which is amazing, I think. But here in the U.S., it's a little different. We take stuff for granted because the market is saturated with everything. We have everything instant here. We're very spoiled people. And you don't realize until you start traveling around the world, you see that, we have it really well. So social media here is much different than it is in other countries. It's not as crazy popular as it here is in the USA. I would say the next biggest place is probably China. They have a pretty big social media. But other than that, I mean, the rest of the world is just getting in tune with all this stuff. But America always seems to be the front runner of setting the trend with this, the social media kind of stuff. First we had MySpace, then we had Facebook was just for college students. Then Instagram was created. But I just remember coming up during the days where you had to compete. You had to go to a show to see bodybuilders. You couldn't find them on your phone. Couldn't find them on the internet, unless you went on a forum where the forum was kind of like an Instagram. People would post their transition, their transformations and yada, all that kind of stuff. But that was the only time you saw anybody. So now it kind of takes the fun out of it, You know what's going to be at shows sometimes, like, who's doing well, or they're 6 weeks out from their show, or who tore a muscle yesterday. But then it also kind of doesn't bring us together anymore. Before we had to go to these places to be together as a sport, an organization, a lifestyle. We had to go to the expos to meet each other. Now we can all talk to each other through social media or on the computer FaceTime, because now we all can talk to each other and not have each other's phone number. You don't need someone's phone number anymore to get in touch with them. I can find anybody at any given second on my phone at my fingertips and message them. Even celebrities. Now, like, how crazy is that to fathom? We don't need to go to these places to see them in person. We see them on our phone. That's why nowadays when you see celebrities, you see big stars, like, it's not as crazy because you see them all day on their phone, what they're doing. You can watch, just Tom Cruise do whatever he wants all day, or Jay Cutler does all day. Like, your favorite person, you can go on there and see what he does or what he likes, just by a one touch. Now, social media just kind of like watered that down for fitness world. So now your fitness celebrities that you want to go see in person, you can watch their workouts, you can watch them eat, you can watch them train, you can watch them do whatever you want. So now these expos are kind of like drawing people away almost, because it used to draw people together. Now it's drawing them back away again, because it's like, why do I have to go all the way there, spend all this money, when I can just watch it streamed on my phone? So before it would bring us all together as a sport. And then it really brought us all together in the beginning by the social media, because we all wanted to like tag each other. And now it's getting to the point where it's like, well, why am I going to spend money? I can just watch the live stream at home or on my phone. I don't need to go there anymore. I'm not going to be able to get in line and beat that person, all those people in line to shake his hand. I'd rather just watch him on the phone. So these expos are really changing. The dynamics aren't the same. Like, the big companies aren't getting big booths anymore. You don't get the athletes going to the booth anymore because some companies don't even have contracts with them. So what are you really going to an expo for now? Social media has taken so much of that strength out of the expo now and just ripped it out of there. Because now the booth's like, what's the point of the booth? The booth was to go see the athlete, whoever that company had. I remember back in the day, Muscle Tech had everybody. Phil Heath, Jay Cutler, Dexter Jackson, Branch Warren, everybody. And then to be battling with, Gaspari, or battling with BSN, like, all the companies had their athletes. And now none of these shows even have athletes at them anymore, because the athletes aren't going to go unless they're paid. They're not going to go spend their hard-earned money to go to an expo and walk around and take pictures. That's crazy. So this subject is about social media placing also, but it's also about how it's taken away so much from our sport that I loved. I loved going to these expos every year and seeing all my friends that I don't see from halfway across the world. I see them once or twice a year. And meet up and work out and eat and have a meal together and hang out and spend quality time with each other. Now I don't talk to these guys anymore. I don't see them. There's no congregating at any place anymore, because no one's sponsored by any company. Social media has literally ruined that. And it's taken away what, like, I think stuck this sport together and stuck the people that were hardcore together. Because we all looked forward to those couple dates a year to hang out, to share memories together and also look forward to it the next year. Now none of us have that because no one's with a sponsor anymore. Most of us have our own companies. We're running our own show now. So it's really changed the angle of how you're supposed to take your career now from step 1 to step 10. It's like my steps before were get sponsored, stay sponsored, make as much money with that company, stay there as long as possible, be loyal to them, branch out, get other sponsors, and then maybe down the road start thinking about doing my own thing. If that even happened. I usually would get through my whole career before with a sponsorship and live very well and be able to travel the world and do my thing and make extra money here and there and compete. Because it was contractual. You had to compete also. You had to do like 1 or 2 shows a year. Now, you don't even have contracts anymore at all. So these people are not even going to the shows to compete. Because who's going to pay for all that? You have to pay for a hotel. You're going to have to pay for your board, your food while you're there. Flight to get there, your entry fees, the registration fees. Let's call it cheap, $3,000 to get to the show and spend for the 3-4 days that you're there for a show. Let's say you have to fly somewhere. And then the prize money is not even $10,000 for first place most of the time. So why are athletes going to do these shows? It makes no sense. It's going to be fewer and fewer people going in these shows because there's going to be less sponsors. Before, I would get everything paid for. So my accommodation was free to go there. I would go try to do the show and try to win. I didn't care. I would go back the next week, try to win. I didn't care. Because I know the supplement company had my back. They're paying for all the stuff. But how many more people do you think are going to want to keep going to these shows and not winning any money? And if they do win money, they break even. So it's not like social media is building up these shows to have more prize money or give us more opportunities now. We have to make the money ourselves now and be able to pay our own way to get to these shows. So it's really, really taking away in that aspect also. So social media has a lot of positive and also a lot of negative. I'm not sure if the positives outweigh the negatives in this one. I'd have to really sit down and really weigh out the two. Just on the top of my head, I don't think it weighs out. I really don't. Especially for the things that negatively it brings along and what it does. The things I cherish as an athlete don't come at all from this now. I don't get anything out of being competitive or being a competitor. That's why I do this, what I do, and because I saw the light at the end of the tunnel at one point. I was like, what am I doing at this point? Like, in 2-3 years, it's going to be obsolete. Like, no one's going to be doing that anymore. So that's why I try to open my own way and go this direction with, I want to still be in the sport. I love social media for what I'm doing it, to keep people connected, to give people information, because there's a lot of bad information out there. And my biggest job is, I'm not trying to make the most money in the world. I teamed up with Generation Iron to get a bigger platform because I needed to get out there and touch more people in any way I possibly can. And if that's seminars coming up, which I want to do, if that's holding online seminars, if that's teaming up with other companies, we don't know yet. But each step to a bigger platform is one step closer for me to hit more people. And that's what it's all about. It's not all about the money in your pocket, guys. The money will come. The more people you reach, the more money will come. Trust me. But for now, my opinion on social media is that it's hurting us more than it's benefiting us as far as the competitive end. But in the learning aspect and that dynamic, I think it's great. Because I'm touching so many people's lives and just from a camera in my own office, So that's enough for this, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Nick Trigili signing out. Make sure you like and subscribe Generation Iron. If you guys have any questions you want answered on this show, make sure to email info@generationiron.com and be sure to follow me at Nick World Class on Instagram. This is IFBB Pro Nick Trigili, and I'm signing out.